Welcome to your Get That Nugget for GCSE Maths. Today we will be concentrating on giving you a framework to answer questions about writing ratios as fractions and percentages. This session is to complement your lessons with your teachers and is not to replace them in any way. Okay, so what we're going to look at in this session is writing ratios as fractions and percentages, and potentially writing fractions and percentages as ratios also. So if we have a look at our first example, the ratio of bananas to apples in a box is 2 to 3. What fraction of the fruit are apples? Now, the first thing we need to think about doing is identifying what part of our ratio is bananas and what part of our ratio is apples. Now, with ratios, what happens is the first part of the ratio is always the first thing that is named in the question. So in this question, it says the ratio of bananas to apples, which means our 2 represents our bananas and our 3 represents our apples. So our ratio always follows the order of which it is spoken about in the question. So our ratio of bananas to apples is 2 to 3. What fraction of the fruit is apples? Now, the way we do this is we look at what part of our ratio represents the apples, and that is 3. So 3 is going to be our numerator of our fraction, because we're saying we've got 3 parts that are apples. And then all we simply need to do is think about how many parts of the ratio we have got altogether. Now, we've got 3 parts that are apples and we've got 2 parts that are bananas. So altogether, I have got 5 parts. So our denominator of our fraction is going to be 5. And all this is doing is saying that we've got 3 parts apple out of 5 parts altogether. And that's our fraction of the fruit that are apples. Okay, example number 2. In a class, the ratio of boys to girls is 5 to 6. What fraction of the class are boys? Again, we need to make sure we are certain as to which part of our ratio is boys and which part is girls. Now, boys are spoken about first in the question, which means they are the first part of the ratio. Girls are second, which means they are the second part of the ratio. So I know that I've got 5 parts that are boys and 6 parts that are girls. So our numerator of our fraction is the part that we are focused on, which in this case is the boys. So I have got 5 parts that are boys out of, and our denominator of our fraction is the total number of parts we have altogether. 5 add 6 is going to get us 11. So our ratio is 5 to 6. Our fraction of the class that are boys are 5, because that's how many parts we've got, out of 11 parts altogether. Okay, example number 3. A drink contains apple juice and lemonade in the ratio 1 to 3. What percentage of the drink is lemonade? Now, when we're converting ratios to percentages, the easiest way to do it is to convert it to a fraction first and then convert that fraction to a percentage. So if we convert this ratio to a fraction first, then we can do this next bit. So what percentage of the drink is lemonade? So again, we need to make sure we're certain as to which part is lemonade. So apple juice is mentioned first, which means apple juice is the first part of the ratio. Lemonade is mentioned second, which means lemonade is the second part of the ratio. Okay, now, if we write that as a fraction, we're looking at the fraction that part of the drink that is lemonade, which we know is 3 parts, out of a total of 4 parts, because I've got 1 add 3, which is 4. So I know that the fraction of the drink that is lemonade is 3/4. And then all I simply need to do is to convert this fraction into a percentage. Now, 3/4 as a percentage is equal to 75%. So my percentage of the drink that is lemonade is 75%. Okay, example number 4. There are either red or black sweets in a bag. 3/5 of the sweets are red. Write the ratio of red to black sweets. Now, if we look at this fraction here, 3/5, we know that 3/5 of the sweets are red. So this tells us the parts that are red. Now, the denominator of our fraction, as we've said on our previous example, tells us the total parts. Okay, so this is our parts that are red and these are our total parts. Now, we know there's either red or black sweets, and we're trying to write the ratio of red to black. Now, because red comes first in the question, red needs to come first in our ratio. So we know that I've got 3 parts that are red. Now I need to figure out how many parts are black. Well, if 5 is the total parts altogether, 3 of those are red, that means I must have 2 other parts, which means that I must have 2 parts that are black. Okay? Okay. Example number 5. 55% of pupils in a school are boys. Write the ratio of female to male pupils in its simplest form. Now, we have got 55% of the pupils are boys, and we are trying to write the ratio of female to males. Now, we know that percentages are out of 100. So we have got 100%, and we know 55% of those are males, they're boys. And so what I'm going to do to figure out what percentage is female is I'm going to take away 55%. Now, 100% take away 55% is going to leave me with 45%. So I now know from that 45% are females. Now, I am trying to write the ratio of females to males, and I need to do it in its simplest form. Now, I know 45% are females, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to say 45, and I'm just going to remove my percentage sign because I'm writing it as a ratio. 45 is the percentage of females, and 55 is the percentage of males. Now, this is my ratio of females to males. However, in a question like this, I'm not going to have full marks in the answer yet. And the reason I've not got full marks yet is because it says in its simplest form, and I need to simplify that. So I need to look at 45 and 55, and we simplify ratios in the exact same way as we simplify fractions. We need to look at what 45 and 55 can both be divided by. So what is a common factor of both of them? Now, 45 and 55, I can tell because they both end in 5, can be divided by 5. So 45 divided by 5, that is going to get me 9. 55 divided by 5, that is going to get me 11. Now, it's worth checking at this stage, can I simplify this any further? Can 9 and 11 both be divided by anything else? And our answer is no. So that is our simplified version. So our fraction of female to male pupils is 9 to 11. Okay, what you've got here are 3 examples. So question 1, a football team plays a number of matches. The ratio of their wins to their draws to their losses is 6 to 9 to 5. Now you've got a 3-part ratio here, but you are going to do exactly the same as you have been on the other examples. So you want to do the fraction of the matches they win, the fraction they lose, and the percentage that they draw. So we still do the same method. Find their parts and find the total parts. Then you've got some questions here, percentages, and then writing those as a ratios. And then this here, you've got a fraction and you are writing that as a ratio. Have a go at those 3.